All right. So may peace and power elevation be to all of you. This is your girl Tiffany coming through live in effect. So I'm right here. Today we're going to honor one of the ancestors. Today was her birthday. This is her day of birth. And that ancestor will be Mary McLeod Bethune. So what I want to do is take the time out and look into her history and her life story. And we're not only going to look at her life story and her history, but also you know, we're going to discuss all the things that she has accomplished as an African American woman. And then from there, we're gonna end it off with some African music. As you guys was hearing in the background, that's some African music that I was playing. So I've been in that spirit for the past few days, like just being very uplifted or whatnot. So yeah, so I was playing that music while I was getting things going. But anyways, check this out. I want to go ahead and get started. So if you guys are on the YouTube channel, make sure you subscribe and like and share the channel. If you guys on Facebook, make sure you share the Facebook page. And that's that. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So let's go ahead and get started. And I hope everybody had a productive week. I hope everybody was being safe. Let's go. All right. Peace, peace, peace. How you doing, brother? All right. So as you guys can see, I'm gonna post a picture up. This is Mary McLeod Bethune right here. So we are here to look at the work of this beautiful ancestor and what she has accomplished in this country and for Black people as a whole. So we give our shade to her, and we'll go ahead and get started. All right. So here we go. Yeah. Okay. And it's coming from the historycenter.org, Orange County Regional History Center. That's the website. This is the life story by Mary McLeod Bethune, educator and activist. All right. It says, known during her lifetime as the First Lady of Negro America, Mary McLeod Bethune is remembered for her contribution as an educator and civil rights activist. Although the founding of Bethune-Cookman University in Daytona Beach, Florida, is probably her most well accomplished. It is one of many. In addition to being one of the first women to have established a historically Black college, Bethune was also very politically and socially involved at both national and international levels. She did not tolerate discrimination and continually fought for the rights of herself and others, whether the issue was voting rights, civil rights, or human rights. Although not a native, she called Daytona Beach her home for most of her life. All right, so let's get down to the early part of her years. All right, here we go. Mary Jane McLeod was born on July 10th, 1875 in Maysville, South Carolina. She was the 15th of 17 children born to her formerly enslaved parents, Samuel and Pasty McLeod, and was the first in her family born into freedom, as well as the first to receive a formal education. However, before being given the opportunity to attend school, she helped support her family by picking cotton to sell, as many Black families did after slavery was abolished. So, yeah, I remember going back into slavery. When Black families earned their freedom, they had a hard time finding jobs and, making substantial income. So what did they resort doing? Picking cottons or doing other little textile works just to make enough money to get by. So most of the people in the South, especially after slavery was abolished, most grew up very poor. Most grew up in a rough time. And you had children that was even working. You had kids that didn't even receive education until they were probably about 10 years old. And they were in the same classroom with other little kids. And that's just the way the life was. So Mary McLeod Bethune was that kid who was born to parents that were former slaves. And she did what she had to do. But let's continue. When Mary was around 10 years old, she began her schooling at the Trinity Pedestrian Mission School in Maysville. She proved to be a bright student who loved to learn. She once said, "The whole world opened up to me when I learned to read." After graduating from the mission school, she was fortunate to receive funding from a woman named Mary Chrisman to attend the Barber Scotia Seminary School in Concord, North Carolina, from which she graduated in 1894. She went on to Moody Bible College in Chicago with the hope of traveling to Africa to become a missionary, but her hopes were crushed when the missionary board informed her after her graduation in 1895 that they were not sending black people to posts in Africa. Now imagine that you went through all the schooling and you want to go back to the motherland just to do missionary work for the people, and they tell you that we're not sending any black kids over to Africa. In other words, you're not going back to your native land. Imagine that. Needing a new plan, she focused her attention on becoming an educator and returned back to Maysville. She taught at the mission school where she first learned where she first had learned to read, and later moved to Augusta, Georgia, to teach at Hines Normal and Industrial Institute. It was here, under the leadership of Lucy Craft Laney, that she became inspired to one day start her own school. She then went on to teach at the Kendall Institute in Sumter. Was it Sumner? Yeah, Sumter, South Carolina. It was there that she met her husband and fellow teacher, Albertus Bethune. They were married in 1898, and their only child, Albert McLeod Bethune, was born on February the 3rd, 1899. All right, and as you can see, that's a picture of her and her students. All right. So check this out. The Bethune family moved to Florida in 1899 and first settled in Palatka. Here, Mary McLeod Bethune helped to start a mission school run by the Presbyterian Church. After about 5 years, she moved to Daytona Beach with plans to start her own school. When she and 5-year-old Albert arrived in Daytona Beach in September 1904, all she had was $1.50 to her name, and Albertus planned to join them later. However, the couple soon separated. Now, this lady came with a vision. She came with a plan, and she only had $1.50 to her name. $1.50 to her name. And it says Bethune's lack of funds and support did not stop her from renting a house, in which she opened the Daytona Literary and Industrial School for training Negro girls on October 3rd, 1904. Her first class had 5 students. Check this out. Her mission was to educate young black children, specifically girls. However, she did not underestimate the ways in which white philanthropists could contribute to her school's success. It was common to see her in the beginning days of her endeavor, riding her bike down the street, going door to door searching for support for her school. Early members of her board of trustees included Thomas White of the White Machine Sewing Company and John D. Rockefeller of Standard Oil. All right. White first came to visit Bethune's school after he heard about her educational endeavors. He arrived at an unfinished 4-story building with dirt floors and followed her around as she passionately explained her vision. He listened quietly, but what really caught his attention was an old Sanger sewing machine the students had been using. A few days after his visit, a brand new white sewing machine arrived at the school. He continued as a generous benefactor. All right. Bethune first spoke to Rockefeller over the telephone to arrange a meeting. When she arrived on the doorstep of his winter home in Ormond Beach for the appointment they had arranged, he was quite surprised. He had been certain the woman he talked with on the phone was white. This did not deter Bethune, and she was able to persuade the oil baron to invest in her dream. So now she had to reach out to John D. Rockefeller and Thomas White to help her invest into her school. That's how determined this woman was. And it says, after expansion, several names changes, a merger with the Cookman Institute co-ed school in Jacksonville, Bethune retired as president of Bethune-Cookman in 1942. She was named president emeritus and continued to be active in schools affairs, even briefly serving as president again from 1946 to 1947. With her home located on the campus, it was difficult for her not to stay involved. And even after she retired, she still was dedicated. And this is her right here. This beautiful, magnificent woman. All right. Though Bethune's contribution to education are myriad, she was also extremely influential politically. She advised four United States presidents, Calvin Coolidge, Herbert Hoover, Franklin Roosevelt, and Harry Truman. Under Hoover, she worked on the National Committee on Child Welfare, and under Coolidge, she served as a delegate to Child Welfare Conference. And during Truman's presidency, she served as a consultant on interracial relations at the United Nations Conference on International Organization in San Francisco in 1945, which established the UN as a member of the United States delegation that traveled to Liberia in 1952 to attend the inauguration of President William Tubman. Excuse me. It was during this trip that the Liberian government awarded her the Star of Africa. Beautiful. It was, however, under President Roosevelt that Bethune played a much larger role. He first appointed her as a representative on the advisory committee for the National Youth Administration. This led to her appointment as the first Black woman to head a federal agency, the Office of Minority Affairs. She was also the only woman on President Roosevelt Federal Council on Negro Affairs, more commonly known as the Black Cabinet. This was an unofficial cabinet of African Americans who advised Roosevelt on matters concerning the Black community. All right, Bethune was also good friends with First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt and her mother Anna. Eleanor Roosevelt even stayed at Bethune's house twice at a time when many white Southerners considered it quite scandalous for the First Lady to stay in the home of a Black woman. Now, that's how close they were. And, she had a beach. It was called Bethune Beach. Swim freely. Yes. This woman wasn't going to stop. She kept it going. The founder of Bethune Beach, check this out. Jim Crow law affected almost every aspect of life in the South in 1940s, even the beaches. This meant Black residents of Daytona Beach did not have an area of the beach easily accessible to them. Bethune's solution was to create her own beach in the neighborhood town of New Smyrna Beach. She reportedly said that the ocean was God's water for everyone to enjoy. On December 9th, 1945, the board of directors for what would become Volusia Beach, now known as Bethune Beach. The beach is still there to this day. Met and signed a charter. The board was composed of Black individuals with local influence and status. Bethune was named treasurer. She envisioned a year-round resort where her people could enjoy themselves. And to this day, the beach is still there. This woman was nonstop. Check this out. And as a businesswoman herself, Bethune always advocated for African American ownership of businesses and property. As lots went up for sale and news spread, people all over the country began to capitalize on this investment opportunity. In May 2017, Volusia County placed interpretive panels and a historical marker on the site honoring the significance of the beach and its namesake. And there she go, right there again. All right. As Bethune aged, she began to consider her legacy. On March 17, 1953, the Mary McLeod Bethune Foundation opened with offices in her home in Daytona Beach. Guests were allowed to come and tour to see where and how she lived. She wanted to inspire others and create a space where her story would live on. She also envisioned her home as a research facility and created plans for the arrangement and housing of her personal papers, which are now preserved in the Bethune-Cookman University archives. In 1974, the home was recognized by the National Park Service as a historic landmark. Okay. And it says Mary McLeod Bethune passed away at the age of 79 on May 18, 1955 at her home in Daytona Beach. Her death was mourned by many and announced in newspapers across the nation. As requested in her will, she was laid to rest behind her house on the campus of Bethune-Cookman University. Both her home and her grave are visited daily by people who wish to pay tribute to her and to learn more about her life and contribution. In February 2018, Florida's Governor Rick Scott signed a bill that provides for a statue of Mary McLeod Bethune to be placed on the National Statuary Hall in Washington, D.C. Her image will replace that of a Confederate General, Edmund Kirby Smith, installed in 1922. She will be the first African American represented in the hall. From the cotton fields of South Carolina, Mary McLeod Bethune rose to become one of the most prominent figures in African American history. She devoted herself to fighting for the rights of the less fortunate and disadvantaged. Her legacy and strides that she made for equality should not be forgotten. And that's a fact. So now, let's take a look at the university. This is Bethune-Cookman College today, which was founded by her in 1904. And that's what that was 126 years ago. If I'm not mistaken, yeah, 126 years ago. Hold on, let me make sure I calculated that correctly, because I could be wrong. Let me double check. I could be wrong. Hold on. I don't think that was correct. Sorry about that. That was 116 years ago that she founded this school. This school was founded 116 years ago. It's still here to this day. So let's look at the beach in Daytona, Florida. Yeah, in Daytona Beach, Florida. Bethune Beach. All right, give me a moment. All right, this is the beach right here. This is the beach in Florida, where this part of the beach that was founded by Mary McLeod Bethune. And it's the honor that this sister's legacy is still around to this day. Her legacy is still here. That's the beach. Um, hmm. Give me a moment. Hold on, just give me a moment, you guys. Okay. Well, let me go ahead and play a little clip real quick. Okay. All right. So that was the celebration of Bethune, Mary McLeod Bethune's birthday. And as you can see, let me go back to that photo. Right here, where that lady is sitting at, this is where she's buried. Right here, that's her resting place. That's her resting place right there. And I believe that might be her house. Yeah, that looks like her house. Hold on, let's go back. Okay. So that's her final resting place right here. This is where she at. It says she has given her best that others may live a more abundant life. And I think right behind it is her house. That's the house that she was living in, I believe. But yep, this is it. So with that being said, that concludes this video. All right. So yes, that's the history of Mary McLeod Bethune. And not only that, let's continue to honor those ancestors. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go back playing the little African music that I was playing as an outro. Okay, I'm about to play the African music as an outro. right. That's beautiful. And oh yeah, by the way, I got my greens right here. So yeah, I'm on this little protein right here. I just want to throw that out. Shout out to that brother Supernova Slum. Um, for doing his thing. Y'all should check it out. I mean, go to his website. The website is on here. Let me see what it says. The website is www.supermegafood.com. So yeah, make sure y'all check out if y'all can see that, yeah, super megafood.com. Go on his website. This come from Supernova Slum. So yeah, I got my greens, and I'm telling y'all, this shit is delicious. Like, well, not delicious, but it's good. You know what I'm saying? You can feel the work happening. So yeah, I just want to throw this out here. But anyways, y'all, with that being said, may peace and power elevation be to all of you. Until next time, take it easy. Deuces. Thank you so much for watching. Peace and ashe.